Greetings, Crypt Creepers. Welcome back to the Crypt of Knights. I'm your host with the most, the best host, the one with the knowledge, the Kryptkeeper. Nobody knows more about comic books and their movies than me, believe me. And today, we're talking about a very big one. Huge. Some say the biggest superhero ever, some say overrated. But folks, let's be honest, that S is iconic. We're reviewing none other than Superman, directed by James Gunn, the guy who gave you a mercenary raccoon, made you cry about a tree, and had you laughing your butt off with random acts of violence in Guardians of the Galaxy. He also made the Suicide Squad, not the first terrible one, the second, pretty good one. He's got the weird humor, the CGI monsters, and now he's got the keys to the kingdom over at DC. And well, he used them, but not enough. We'll talk about that. This is basically the Gunn show, okay? He directed, he wrote it, all of it. Except, of course, the little nod to Superman's original creators, Siegel and Schuster, may they rest in peace. And he produced it too, alongside Peter Safran, who's there, I guess. But don't be fooled. This isn't a committee movie. This is Gunn going full James Gunn, whether you like it or not. And how did we see it? Like royalty, of course. IMAX. The only way to watch a guy fly around in tights while punching things. Massive screen, thunderous sound. We anticipated greatness, so yeah. We pinched in for the extra cash.
All right, guys, let's talk about how this movie actually came to be, because it's a journey. The road to James Gunn's Superman was not a straight shot. Believe it or not, it all started way back in 2014, when Warner Brothers was still planning a direct sequel to Man of Steel. Henry Cavill was set to return, and there were hopes of building a bigger, connected DC universe, kind of like Marvel, but darker and with more neck-snapping. But then came Justice League in 2017, a production so troubled they made a documentary about it without even trying. That whole experience kinda nuked the DCEU from orbit, and by 2020, that Man of Steel sequel was quietly shelved. Superman's future? Totally up in the air. Fast forward to 2022, James Gunn, who had just wrapped his run with Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, starts working on a brand new Superman script. Then boom. In October, he's named co-CEO of DC Studios alongside Peter Safran. The goal? Reboot the entire DC universe. Start fresh, and it all begins here. By December 2022, Gunn confirms he's writing the new movie. In January 2023, the title Superman Legacy is announced. Then in March, he officially signs on as director, which, if you know Gunn's style, that's when things start getting weird in the best way. Corenswet and Brosnahan are cast in June, and by February 2024, the movie drops the Legacy subtitle and just goes by Superman, straight to the point. Filming kicked off in Svalbard, Norway of all places, then moved to Trillith Studios in Atlanta, a popular spot for blockbuster filmmaking, with extra scenes shot in Georgia and Ohio. Everything wrapped by July. And for you comic book fans out there, this film pulls some inspiration from All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, along with other major Superman storylines. So yeah, this is Gunn's love letter to the big blue boy scout, but also his launchpad for the new DC universe.
All right, look, here's the deal. I'm not gonna ruin anything for you. I'm not that guy. But let me just tell you what this thing's about. So, Superman. Yeah, he's already Superman. No origin story, no Kansas cornfield slow-mo nonsense. Gunn takes a bold stance on this one. The movie starts with Supes already being defeated. A big change for everyone who knows about Big Baby Blue Eyes. He's not invincible. Right off the bat, we don't know by who. But he got beaten to a pulp. We start with some credits that try to explain the whole Gunniverse in 3 seconds. 3 centuries ago this happened. 3 decades ago that happened. 3 weeks ago. Yeah, and 28 weeks later. And of course, it's 2025, so we gotta complicate everything. There's a war breaking out between Baravia and Jarhanpur. Shocker. And Supes decides to step in like the ultimate hall monitor of Earth. And guess what? People get mad about it. Welcome to modern superhero movies. Oh, you saved lives? Yeah. But did you follow protocol? Meanwhile, you've got Lois Lane. And they've got this whole love triangle thing going. And she's not so sure about it. She's sharp, funny, clearly smarter than everyone else in the room. And since Clark is landing all these exclusive interviews with Superman, Lois tricks him into giving her an interview. At this point, Clark's just trying to keep up, you know? Then you've got Lex Luthor, who is already the meanest villain on Earth. He's got all the tech, a suit built for an Ultraman who, for some reason, is working for him, and a version of the Engineer from the Authority. Yep. Wildstorm Comics represented. He even has a prison for anybody who's wronged him in a pocket universe, even his ex-girlfriends. And he gives a speech that would rival Gordon Gekko's "Greed is Good" soliloquy. But about envy. Awesome stuff. What I really didn't get is, if it's a reboot, and you've got the keys to the whole DC universe, how come you only have 3 superheroes on your Justice Gang? And 3 of the worst at that. Guy Gardner, the worst Green Lantern. Mr. Terrific. Who? That's right. And a pretty TV series version of Hawkgirl, played by Dora the Explorer herself, Isabella Merced.
So, from a filmmaking perspective, there's a lot to like here. James Gunn brings a strong visual style, with crisp cinematography, vibrant colours, and action sequences you can actually follow, which is a minor miracle in superhero cinema these days. The movie has heart, with real emotional moments that sneak up on you. Small, human interactions that give this larger-than-life story some much-needed grounding. You can tell Gunn cares about Superman, not just as an icon, but as a guy trying to do the right thing in a world that's mostly yelling, "No thanks." There's fun to be had, and it has personality, but honestly, for a James Gunn movie, I expected it to be funnier, a little sharper. It feels like it's playing it safe in places where it should be letting its cape down and getting weird. And then there's the Jahanpur scene, a supposed turning point in the movie that looks like it was shot during a quiet Tuesday at a Renaissance fair. It's supposed to feel global and urgent, but it barely registers as regional. Like, I know we're all on a budget these days, but if you're going to show an entire country rising up, maybe hire more than 100 extras and don't shoot it like a recruitment ad for the Peace Corps. On the writing side, Lex Luthor is actually fantastic. Not just your usual bald guy with a grudge, but a dangerously philosophical manipulator obsessed with envy, power, and control. His schemes feel methodical and terrifying in that he might actually be right, but also we should run kind of way. He's written like the world's smartest narcissist, the kind of villain you hate but secretly hope gives a TED talk.
All right, let's talk about the cast. And yeah, I'll say it, David Corenswet, he's good. He looks like Superman. He moves like Superman. But he's not Reeve. And he's definitely not Cavill. The guy's got charm, sure, but they wrote him more like the polite dude who bags your groceries at Whole Foods. He's got heart, he's earnest, but I kept waiting for him to crank it up a little. Still, he's not the problem. He does the job. Now Rachel Brosnahan, she crushed it. Funny, sharp, vulnerable, tough. Everything Lois should be. And they finally gave her more to do than just be the girl who gets rescued a lot. About time. Eddie Gathegi is Mr. Terrific. Legit. Charismatic. Quick-witted. Cool as hell. I'd watch a spin-off with just him and his gadgets, honestly. But then, we got some weak links. Look, I like Isabella Merced. She's got talent. But that Hawkgirl role? Nah. Felt soft. That character should be fierce. Like rip your face off fierce. And this was more CW than DCU. And Guy Gardner? Never cared for him. Still don't. Nathan Fillion played Nathan Fillion. You know what I mean. He's always that charming goofball with a punchable face. And hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Maria Gabriela de Faria showed up as the engineer, and she was solid. But I don't know. Something about the whole thing felt a little like, hey, let's check the diversity box. Nothing against her, but the character didn't hit with much weight. Now, Lex Luthor? Lex freaking Luthor? Nicholas Hoult owns this movie. Best he's ever been. Cold, brilliant, obsessed, unpredictable. Everything Lex should be, and then some. When he's on screen, everything works. Guy steals the movie, plain and simple.
So here's the bottom line, folks. Yes, you should watch it. Absolutely. And yes, it deserves the IMAX treatment. Big screen, big cape, big muscles. It all works. It's a good time. Popcorn flick? The best kind. You're not going to walk out a changed person, but you're going to smile. You're going to say, that was pretty fun. And sometimes, fun is enough. Sometimes. Now, is it the greatest Superman movie ever made? Let's not kid ourselves. Superman 78 still has that crown. Man of Steel, for all its drama, had a presence. This question mark, it's a reset button, a soft launch, and that's okay. But let's be honest, can it really carry a whole universe? I'm not so sure. Where's Hal Jordan? Where's Arthur Curry? Where's Bruce Wayne? Diana Prince? Anyone? Where are the real pillars of the DCU? And most importantly, and nobody's talking about this, but I will, where are the villains? The real ones, the big guns, Brainiac, Darkseid, Anti-Monitor, Reverse Flash. Are we even going to get a multiverse? Or is this it? Just 3 quirky heroes, a great Lex, and a CGI dog. We'll see. I've got questions. The fans have questions. And Gunn, well, he's got a deadline. Good luck, buddy. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please keep watching The Crypt of Knights.